Howdy doody, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Gaming with Dimwits and Doofuses, your podcast for an opinion on the next generation of video games, as well as the legend of old tabletop games, covered by people who only have a vague idea of whatever the hell we're talking about. I'm your host, Javier. Week by week, I cover a variety of topics, either by myself or with others, pertaining to different aspects of video game genres and certain themes we come across inside of video games or tabletop games. This week, I'll be talking about something more personal to me specifically. It'll just be me this week. I'm going to be talking about something that I grew up with, something that I came to love throughout the process of my childhood, and a genre that I would honestly just come to thoroughly enjoy. And that genre would be none other than the Halo franchise. So, what was the Halo franchise, and where did it start for me? I think for me, the earliest memory I have would have to have been my brother and my dad just playing the game. I would walk into the sunroom that we had at the time in Indianapolis, and I would just see how my dad would be playing this video game as he explained it to me when I was about 6 or 7. And the game essentially ran on the giant cube that was provided. For those that don't know, the first Halo game, Halo Combat Evolved, was released for the original Xbox, the Go Block One, in the early 2000s, and it was a very bizarre thing. It was honestly a sort of vault point for the entirety of modern video games because first, an interesting fact about Halo was it was the first dual joystick video game shooter because previously we'd seen Doom on the N64, we'd seen GoldenEye as well, but this was the first dual joystick shooter, first of its kind, and because of that, it took the market by storm. It was an incredible innovation that people were raring to get behind. The idea that with one joystick, you would have the capability of moving your character, in this case, in Halo, the character being Master Chief John 117, and with the other joystick, controlling the look, where your character would be looking, where they would be aiming for the majority of the shooters, so where exactly you'd be shooting. It was a really interesting concept for its time, and I know it's become more mainstream nowadays, but for its time, it was an innovation that really stormed not even just the country, like the entirety of the world. People around the world were just swamped with it, and they were so interested, including myself. I was able to see my dad and even my brother play the game, and after some long hours of trying to convince my mother, she allowed me to at least get first just to watching because in all honesty, I didn't get a watch in the beginning phases. Beginning phases, I would try to walk over to the sunroom and my mom would drag me over by the ear and scream at me and just say, "You're too young for this game. Can't play this." And she could get all angry about it, but it was I think she was just being protective, but I eventually got in the room to watch. And even further along, I was actually able to play it. My brother would give me the extra controller he had. He'd be like, "All right, Javier, sit down. We're gonna teach you to do this." So it was again kind of it was an interesting experience. This is my first time putting my hands on the controller with playing Halo Combat Evolved with my brother. He explained everything to me. You know, the idea of the right trigger, left trigger, RB, LB, and meanwhile, like, he's trying to explain it to me. And I'm like, "L what?" Because I don't think I had my mind wrapped around acronyms at the time. It was a very obscure concept, honestly, being a small kind of chubby kid with his controller in my hand. I didn't know what to do. So slowly, he kind of taught me how to move around and look at fire an assault rifle, the bag, and he would direct me through the different stages of point. And I had a great time. It was a super fun time to spend with my brother. We honestly would just go on for like hours at a time. We would be stuck on that thing. He would show me the blood level where you get this sort of alien parasite attacking you. You would get the Covenant going against you. And especially for me, a super fun thing about the game was the sound design. Now, the music and the graphics for Halo Combat Evolved for its time was incredible. Nobody had ever seen anything like it except for in some variety of Nintendo games. It was amazing to see these 3D models and imagery and sound. But nowadays, I will admit, looking back on it, it's very, very funny. Hear it. I'm gonna play a short clip of the Halo Combat Evolved Elite sounds, and they are very fun to hear. I'm still recording this real quick. I can't, I can't hold it in. Even on that note, yeah, it was listening to that nowadays is very, very funny. But for its time, that was peak. That was peak audio that you would be getting from these games. And it was the experience. It was part of the amazing experience. And sure, I laughed. But no, it was a revelation for its time. It was incredible. The idea that you would be able to control your character with two joysticks, the idea that you get this graphic, the audio, the music, you get the whole experience right in your own home. It was so nuts. And for me, it was amazing to learn how a controller works. I'd only ever played with my brother's N64 beforehand, which is that's the one joystick. God forbid I barely knew how to use that. Moving on to two joysticks. God, how would I do it? It seems ridiculous. It's barbaric. I don't know. I don't know. It was a big jump, but it was very interesting. I have to say, and playing through the campaign and multiplayer of Halo Combat Evolved with Miguel was just a very fun experience. I can honestly look back and remember going through the mission, seeing the sort of pillars of forerunner structures shooting off this ray of energy and the whole of like Covenant dropship coming in off the screen. It was incredible. It was really, really cool. And I honestly am super happy that they looked up with that. But moving on from just Halo Combat Evolved, the franchise would come to shoot out a lot more games. I want to touch on Halo 2 and 3. I'm going to touch on them together because while the story is very much different, in a sense, Halo 2 and 3 ran quite similarly. Similar concepts. Halo 2 would have a different primary firearm, the sort of machine pistols. I don't believe they were called that, but they were uh, functionally machine pistols instead of the usual combat assault rifle that you would be getting in the majority of the games. You could still get combat assault rifle in this game, but it was not as mainstream. Even the sort of, as I'm mentioning it right now, the sort of machine pistols would be shown on the front cover of the Halo 2 game, and they were pretty fun to play with. And by Halo 2 and 3, this came out in 2004, or around that time of 2004, which funny enough was the year I was born. So by the time I had finished Halo Combat Evolved, the second game and even third game, in a sense, were already ready for me. By the time I'd gotten up to that level, because since I got into console gaming, I didn't just play Halo. I played a variety of other games, whether it's a Call of Duty game or other such Xbox games, but I would focus on Halo. I enjoyed Halo a lot. This is the thing I was introduced to, and I enjoyed having time with it. It was just a super neat experience. I love to take a part in. And so because of that, I was working through Halo 2 and 3 and going through the campaign. And once again, it was like, man, look at this graphics. Not as much with the double joystick. By this time, the double joystick controller had been out in the market. People were getting used to it. Even the Xbox 360 had come out. You would see that storm, everyone's home. Um, and Halo 2 and 3 were very, very fun games, very cool campaigns, getting some real story out of the journey of John 117 and Cortana. But for me, this is actually more a focus on Halo 3. Me and my brother would try and single out certain phrases. There is a function in the Halo 3 game. If you played the game, you should probably know about this. It is a special dialogue function where you can activate the skull and you are able to get sound bites and specific clips of usually grunts saying some very, making some very humorous comments or just saying very strange things that are very, very funny. I am again going to play this clip for you guys. I'll always laugh at it. They're very, very humorous. I'm just gonna play a couple seconds, but you get the idea.
I'm gonna pop the top off a can of whoop ass! Game over! Told ya, check it! Oh, don't let it near the nipple! Yeah! Okay, someone bring up the fist up. Focus all fire on the demon! He was my best friend! I should have been in a leadership class!
Even though they make me laugh, because specifically that clip, you can no, if you know the like the Halo games, it's just a suicide grunt. It's like I should have taken a leadership class. It's great. It's stuff like that. And they did a great job. Bungie, the developers of the first Halo games, they did an amazing job with that. They listened to the community. They would provide these games with the amazing music, sound, graphics that we all really wanted, and they come a long way. You can definitely see the sort of progress of these games over time. And it's amazing. It's really, really cool to see. I personally love going back and kind of seeing kind of what games I started with, and these were the ones I did. Halo games, where it was just Combat Evolved, or moving on to Halo 2 and 3, where you get the idea of high charity, and even specifically in Halo 2, the idea that, the Covenant is not all it was made out of, which is very cool, specifically because in Halo 2, to jump around a bit, you get the playing of the Arbiter, Arbiter being the sort of main figurehead for the Covenant, a holy figure in a sense. So it's essentially will the want of prophets. It was a very interesting storyline, and it's super super cool seeing how they would be able to adapt the Arbiter into the story, and Halo 3, you even get to see how if you would play co-op, which I was very commonly with my brother, you'd see how first player you'd be able to play as a chief, and second player would be playing as the Arbiter, and you're getting dialogue with those two. A super super cool experience. It's incredible to see this. And I love that getting that because there's nothing like it. It's very nostalgic, very fun, and I just always help plays. And then the this this next bit, I will say this was not as much a figurehead in my childhood because, but it wasn't. It wasn't, and I'm gonna have to explain it a bit more because I've talked about Halo Combat Evolved, but Halo 2 and 3 is that now I have to talk Halo 4. And again, if you know about the Halo series, you know where this is gonna go. Halo 4 from 2012, me and my brother got it for Christmas that year. It was released November of 2012, and me and my brother got it in December. My dad was gracious enough to immediately buy us the game because we've been talking about it. Pretty much the entire time up to Christmas, he was like, "All right, we'll get video games once." And the graphics were incredible. Everyone was so interested with the graphics. It was so developed for its time, and the multiplayer was super fun. They had a bunch of new variety of weapons. It was very, very interesting. The part that got people upset was the story, me included. Because if you know the story of Halo 4, you understand that the story covers the progress of John 117, that's Steve, as I keep calling him, uh, trying to fix Cortana due to her age as an artificial intelligence. They are not meant to last for a very long time. They're usually meant to be made and then recommissioned. But Cortana had been with Master Chief for many, many years, gone through a variety of battles and even uh, hacking in a sense. In Halo 2 and 3, she was taken captive for some time by the Covenant and by the Flood, a grave mind in a sense. And because of that, she'd been degrading, and we were told there was going to be an interesting storyline of that, and we did, at the same time. Cortana was deteriorating during the game of Halo 4. It did not give much to the story, as we were faced with a Forerunner enemy that came and went very quickly. As upon learning of his existence, we more or less just erased him off the earth with a nuke, an actual nuke. It was very strange. The story for this was very weird. It's hard. It's hard to look at, honestly. I didn't like it. Some people might be upset with me for that, but me and my brother was just like, But I will say, like I mentioned before, the graphics were incredible, and even the dialogue of some of the characters was very incredible. This is going to be a long clip, so I want to say it for you guys because it actually does, I feel like, give the game credit because, yes, I was upset with the story, and yes, I wish something was different, but it was still a Halo game, and it had some really cool moments. So I want to share.
I can give you over 40,000 reasons why I know that sun isn't real. I know it because the emitter's Rayleigh effect is disproportionate to its suggested size. I know it because its stellar cycle is more symmetrical than that of an actual star. But for all that, I'll never actually know if it looks real. If it feels real.
So yeah, it's a powerful thing, I will say. They in this game, I think they did a lot of more emotional stuff, which was interesting for a Halo game. And the thing that I have yet to mention was with Halo 4, the developer would change for the first or previous games anyway. They would be all developed by Bungie. Bungie was the developer for Halo 4. It was made by 343 Industries, a fan company of Halo that would go on to essentially make all the following games for Halo. And I don't know, it's a very heavily debated topic, I must say, in the community. How they did, whether people like it or not, I have my own comments about it. I will say graphics are incredible, and the game really allowed me to get into gaming with my brother. We would play hours and hours and hours on end of the multiplayer. We had so much fun with it. He would get very upset with me because for this time I had actually gotten really good at video games. He was busy with high school work and I had nothing better to do. So I would play to the point where he would get upset because he could no longer play it as well as I could and just get upset. I had a great time with it. Super, super fun. Um, and yeah, that was the span of the Halo franchise that I was able to go through as a kid. And that is actually time for the end of the episode this week. Uh, I hope that you all enjoyed this specific episode, and I hope that you can come see us next week. Remember, we release episodes every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This was Gaming with Dimwits and Dupixes. I was your host, Javier, and I hope you all have an amazing. Bye bye.